Yay, purple stuff, Sunny Delight.
Sunny Delight.
Yeah.
What's in this?
Tastes like orange and tangerine.
Yeah, lime. Some healthy junk too.
Yeah.
Perfect. What are you doing?
What the fuck are you guys doing? Shut the fuck up and drink the juice.
You got a bad mom.
Sunny Delight, so good mothers can be great moms too.
Oh, darling, have I ever regaled you with the absolutely quaint and utterly charming tale of my formative years? Wacko began, her voice dripping with an affected sweetness usually reserved for addressing particularly dim-witted but incredibly wealthy benefactors. She settled back into her chaise lounge, a silken scarf draped just so, as if she were about to unveil a priceless heirloom, not a story about radishes. You see, Wacko, yes, a rather unconventional moniker, but one given with much rustic affection, I assure you, sprang forth, much like a perfectly aged Merlot from a fine vintage, from a, shall we say, a farmette. She paused for dramatic effect, allowing the mere concept of a farmette to truly sink into the common minds around her. Now, this wasn't just any farm, mind you. This was a sanctuary of verdant splendor, despite its humble agrarian pursuits. We cultivated the most exquisitely vibrant radishes, an unsung hero of the culinary world, if you ask me. And the property itself? Simply divine. I recall, with the crystalline clarity that only a truly prodigious mind possesses, that we boasted precisely 17 rose bushes. Not 16, not 18, but a perfectly symmetrical 17. And a singular banana tree, a majestic sentinel offering the most glorious shade, though, alas, never a single banana. One simply can't have everything, can one? A delicate, knowing chuckle escaped her lips. I know what you're thinking, Wacko, my dear. How could a mere 3-year-old recall such intricate specifics? And to that, I simply offer a dismissive wave of my hand and say, some are born with an innate grasp of the minutiae, and some, well, some are not. I distinctly recall the day I planted my very first radish. The earth, a rich, dark tapestry, yielded to my tiny, yet surprisingly adept, fingers. And the seeds! Oh, the seeds were not merely brown bits. They were miniature capsules of potential, each a tiny promise of future crispness, shimmering with a pearlescent quality under the benevolent gaze of the sun. It was, in its own way, a spiritual awakening. She sighed, a picture of wistful nostalgia. And the garden's performance, year over year? Fascinating, truly. One would think I was presiding over vast hectares of cornfields stretching to the very horizon, given the analytical depth with which I observed the subtle shifts in radish yield and growth patterns. A slight dip in spring harvest due to a rogue gust of wind? Catastrophic, darling, simply catastrophic for the delicate balance of the terroir. But the pièce de résistance, the jewel in Wacko's crown of absurdity, was undoubtedly her philanthropist rabbits. Now, these weren't your garden variety, run-of-the-mill, carrot-chomping bunnies, she declared, her eyes gleaming with an almost manic pride. Oh no, these were the crème de la crème of Lagomorpha society. Originating from the very heart of old New England money, they summered, naturally, in the Hamptons. Their ancestral home? A sprawling colonial Victorian, replete with turrets and probably a surprisingly well-stocked wine cellar for their discerning tastes. She leaned forward conspiratorially. These magnificent creatures, known for their unfathomable generosity, have a penchant for the finer things in life. Their daily fare? Nothing less than white tablecloth Michelin star gourmet rabbit kibble, served, naturally, on white tablecloth under their rather opulent cages. And their benevolence, their contributions, shall we say, to the nearest community garden were legendary. They'd feverishly and voluminously donate their droppings, a veritable gold mine of organic enrichment, meticulously placed for optimal soil absorption. Why, they're practically regulars on Antiques Roadshow as historical docents, driven to their appointments in a gleaming Rolls-Royce Phantom. And galas? Five-star entertainment venues? Darling, they've seen more velvet ropes than a society columnist. Wacko concluded with a flourish, expecting applause, or at the very least, gasps of awe. Instead, a rather uncomfortable silence descended. Because, as it turned out, Wacko's magnificent tapestry of radish farms, discerning bunnies, and antique roadshow attending lagomorphs was, to put it mildly, a colossal fabrication. The generous donations from her philanthropist rabbits were, in fact, never donated to any community garden whatsoever. Instead, they were discovered in a rather impressive and, frankly, pungent, 4-foot-high healing pile tucked discreetly behind her modest suburban dwelling. And just like that, Wacko, the purveyor of preposterous pretension, was outed as the most delightful, over-the-top, and utterly hilarious yarn spinner the neighborhood had ever had the dubious pleasure of encountering. One might even say it was a revelation that brought a certain earthy reality to her otherwise impeccably curated narrative.